a video response to a professional engineer here who wrote me. I think he deserves a little courtesy here and give him the actual permit from Florida National University for this build. This is from my FOIA request. I pulled it open and was able to find, again, this is how they were going to handle the building permit. All required inspections will be performed by CEI. As such, required inspections will be requested directly from CEI. Now, I'm just going to put that aside for a minute. I'm going to grab, let me put that aside again. I'm going now to the Florida laws 2016. I'm not sure what actually, well, let's go back 2015 or 2016. Nevertheless, when you click on this, the app, this is Florida's, they call it Online Sunshine if you find it. This is today's date. You find that you pull up this 162.21 F.SS, Code Enforcement Officer. You run down the multiple levels of this, and this will run you. This looks similar to 2018. I did not go for word. You'll see that the municipality is responsible for safety, the code enforcement, and who is allowed to do that as you chase this around, even to, this would be 2018. Keep in mind that I'm pulling up 2018 on this, the 468.604, which would not be applicable. You go back in time, it's paralleling it. It's just making it easy, but you guys can find it yourself. If you want to track it down and find errors, if you will, in my statements. But I'm also giving you the bias that it kept defaulting for me at 2018. So you want to pull up the contract agreement date, what they played ball under, and I forget whether it's 2016 or 2015. And we would do that by simply going to over here. Again, we would look at the permit issued on March 29, 2017. Expires on 2019. I did not read the full contract to see if they would, even though they did state a couple times in the contract they would be using this code. I'm not sure if they have a right to change or bounce around. Nevertheless, the CEI represents the inspection, and the state of Florida allows the CEI, the licensed professional engineer, to do the inspections. So that is fair game. And you can find, I'm just going to click around for you. And one of the things you must be worried about, public health and safety, right here. Public health and safety is what's critical with these inspections. And so how do we write out the CEI, which is FIU, as I stated? How do we write them out of this as the factor that allowed this public safety issue to continue? How do we throw it on Denny Pate? Well, you could argue that he would be doing the inspection, but he's not allowed to do his own inspection and his own work. As per one of these guys here, you're not allowed to inspect your own darn work if you're the contractor. So Denny Pate, by Florida's laws, if I've got that right, and I might be a little biased on my quick interpretation of it, we're somewhere that you're not allowed to be the contractor and inspect your own work. You must be separate from that. In other words, you can't be the professional engineer and the contractor and your own inspection agency. You can't review your own plans either and submit them as okay, but you can review other people's plans. With that said, the department, the building department of FIU, is required by state law. You guys have to read this stuff. I'm just giving you the links here. You pause them. You come back and read them yourself. It's required by state law to review the plans. It's not an option to review the plans. It's required by state law that the building departments must review the plans, even if it's the professional engineer submitting them. There's definitions, etc. You guys can find this stuff. I'm going to give you a link down below. We can resolve any issues that you may find in my statements down below in comments. Okay. The review of the construction plans must be done by the Public Code Administration or building official or by a person licensed in the appropriate plans examiner's category as defined in 468.603. The plans examiner's responsibility must be performed under the supervision and authority of the building code administrator or building official without interference from any unlicensed person. It goes on. This is 2018, mind you. It goes on that you will not, that you can't, that it must be reviewed. So these plans were reviewed by FIU. Anybody wondering that? The plans were reviewed. Anybody saying, it's weird that it would have gotten around it. They did not get around it per their statute of a building code office. Okay, I hope you guys can appreciate this. So I'll give you the link here. I'll give you the link to, again, back to my FOIA request over here that you can see over here to the right. I'll give that to you guys. Let's see, where's that? And that was back in September, one of them, September 10th, 2018. I'm going to fire that over here now, and thanks for watching, and this is for that, well, anybody, of course, obviously, but this should show you that FIU was the inspecting authority with the CEI. The CEI had an obligation to protect the public, which is representing FIU. So how do we get down to you guys being so biased? I'm sorry, guys, I'm attacking you. How do you get so biased that you only see a problem with MCM, Berger, Fig, Denny Pate, Linda Fig, etc.? Wow, VSL. How do you guys get including myself with that one? How do you get along with only being biased against those, but you're not really seeing the real issue? The policing authority, FIU, must have a responsibility to protect the public. It didn't say they can hand it off back to Denny Pate in here. In fact, it is addressed under the local code laws that no, there is no ability for Denny Pate to override the building department. It's not in there. So all you guys in these crazy forums over here that keep wanting over here in these forums here triggering me like I can't believe. I find these guys to be lacking. One guy in here popped in. Look at this guy. So I talked about hogging and crowning and things like that. Camber. That wasn't it. It was somewhere else. I think it was that guy. He popped in and said, and they ducked out on him. Oh, well, let me see that comment, actually. I don't remember seeing this comment. Yeah, this is the canopy. I don't know where. I didn't get to read all that. I just bounced in and out. But nevertheless, where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Critiquing here. Yeah, critiquing. Where did he go? Well, this is all. First off, this is not the path. It's around this plate, including this. Then comes back around. So that's just wrong data that they're playing with in here. This shaded moment like this again. It's around, not before it. It's pretty much even with the deck. This crack is a theoretical crack that they've now added, and they're working with it. But this line is not. This is encompassing. If he's calling this the crack around, then he's taking a little bit of liberties there, and it comes out here incidentally, not down. Well, perhaps down to there. This guy's he does some pretty good guessing. He's not. He says mechanical. He's also the one biased against me, but I find some of his thoughts quite. He's working hard. It reminds me of one of my people there that bust their butt. A couple of the other people too. A couple of the other people. What's his name? The electrician in here that does pretty good. But where I can't find it, I wanted to share with you guys to critique that one guy that came in. It was this one. The horizontal component of the compression between 11 and 14 is restricted through the pylon. Let's see, control. I thought it was this guy here. Now I'm not quite getting it. I thought it was that guy there that said there was a building collapse on the. Well, he's got a lot more than I thought he said. I didn't know. Oh, I'm just jumping in for the first time here. Most of my analysis was of stage 3. It looks like C1 and C4 run through that give partial fixity at the center pylon. Yeah, this thing is not a truss. It is secured 100% through clamps, through clamping forces into the piers on each end. This is not a truss. So these idiots that keep calling it a truss, well, they're just idiots. I don't care if they're professional engineers or not. You're just an idiot if you can't see it's secured. And if you think all these people did this review and none of them could figure out they're securing it, where's the pin? It's a pin location on each side of this bridge. If you think they all couldn't figure that out, not these people, but the people inspecting it, Berger, FIG, FIU's building department, state of Florida. If you think they all magically didn't know it's a pin system and it's supposed to be a truss flexible as they require in their failure mechanism, keep calling this thing a truss, then then makes them all geniuses and all the other people stupid. All right, so nevertheless, he jumped in and he said something in the nature that wait a minute, I don't get it. It's pinned. Maybe is this it? No, it's another guy. It's pinned. Why are we talking about it as a truss, which I've always been stating? If this is pinned down and that end is pinned down, how can you be calling this a truss? It doesn't have the ability to flex. It's concrete. It was not going to have the ability to flex. Concrete doesn't have the flexural ability to count on. There's some people experimenting with some flexural abilities, but it's not going anywhere at this time. I'm terminating this video. Please join in, troll in, whatever you want to do. But remember, if you're going to troll in, make sure that you have data behind your trolling in. Just don't give me your emotional. Don't give me this crap that they give each other here. They're all hand jobbing each other over here. Don't give me this crap that this was able to push. This is the beginning of the failure. This cannot be the beginning of the failure. If the deck doesn't flex, this can't move down. This cannot be the beginning of the failure. If the deck doesn't flex, this cannot move down. If this were able to, canopy was even to flex downward, this would require all this to flex at that point. So we have nobody claiming that the deck or the canopy has flexed. If you got neither one of these flexing, that now you have all the internal members all of a sudden having their own little magical moment. To make that happen, you'd have to have all of the loads in the canopy and all the loads in the deck, and somehow none of this clamping force taking place in the middle. And then these members all become some type of sliding, pushing force, creating no cracks that have been identified at any of the joints here. They've been identified in members, but none of them have been identified in the joints besides here, which I explain is creeping in the deck, of course in the canopy, and at that point you're getting your cracks identifying themselves down here. Yeah. So all these guys here, I find them lacking. I don't care what they think about their stupidity. They need to get out of it, grow up, and realize you can't have it. But they're stuck, and psychologically they are stuck because they will be fighting themselves, attacking themselves if they would admit, oh yeah, 11 can't move on its own. Because they can't admit 11 can't move on its own, this makes them terrible engineers of all types. An engineer is supposed to be able to discover and figure out, yeah, that's where I made a mistake. Let me resolve this. That's it. Let me resolve it. All of these engineers that are hand jobbing each other over here are all stuck, psychologically looking at all stuck, mentally stuck. Non-intellectual conversation going on here. This is just one hand job after another. They keep saying the same thing over and over again. I have no idea why they do that. Besides, perhaps they're looking at my data, calling it out, and they have no choice but to fight over here, knowing that I come over here and look at their stuff. I come over here to look at it because I ultimately want to see somebody give me I'm looking for data that shows I'm wrong. You can't have this 11 moving without moving the deck or the canopy. The other members would have to crack. There's too much. It's not the beginning moment. You can't have it happening unless you believe this is a truss system, which some of these clowns do. Keep trying to call this a truss system. This is not a truss system. This is an I-beam. It's a fixed unit designed to be fixed. All right, there's my attack back at those clowns, and that's it. And you're going to come over here, guys, if you want to see what a mental circle jerk looks like.